I'm Linda from paperboutique.blogspot.com. I just received my E2 and I am having so much fun playing with it. I love the Note cartridge that was included. However, I found this cartridge a bit challenging, so I decided to do a video. I wanted to be able to mix and match the different phrases from the different cards, and I came up with an easy solution. And I also wanted to use all of these layers when working with the trifold card, and I came up with a couple of ways to make that a little easier too. Well, let's go ahead and begin. I think it's going to be easier if I show you how to do these techniques using examples and the manual instead of going to the machine. But please let me know if you have any questions, as I would be happy to do a follow-up video. Well, here's the card from page 56 that I made, and I just love, I'm hoping you can see it at this angle, and there's the trifold, and I haven't added a blank paper here for the inside sentiment, and it just folds over. And if you notice on this particular card, I did a different phrase on the front, and I'll show you how to do that, and I did different layering. Well, let me go ahead and show you a couple of quick things. If you were to make the card that I did and just use the pieces that go with the card, you'd only get happy birthday. Let me use a little bit of a pointer here. You'd only get happy birthday in one color, and you'd only get 2 layers. But if you went ahead and used the image that came with the card, you'd get all these different layers. And that's what I wanted to be able to do, is layer all of these on top of the card. And I wanted to use all the different layers for the phrase on top of the card as well. And let me show you how I did that. First of all, I cut my cards, when I'm making these cards, I cut them all at 5.5 inches. Okay, that's what that particular card is sized at. And then to figure out the size for I don't know if you can see that, for this piece, this is how I do it. I go in and I put the card, go into the edit screen and size it at 5.5 inches. Then I add happy birthday to it. I add these 2 pieces. Then I go into the edit screen and click on the little pencil, and when I pull up the size for this, the relative size is 5.5, but then I click on the button for true size, and it tells me that the size of this particular image is 5.25. So now I know that I can go ahead and come over here, and if I cut this piece here at 5.25, it's going to be pretty close. Now, it's not going to be exact, so you're going to have to kind of maybe tweak it a little bit, but in some cases it will be right on. Let me show you this to better illustrate. If I were to go ahead and cut just this piece here, it would be, the card layer would fit perfectly. But then I went ahead and added it and clicked on the true size button and found that it was at 5.25. So I cut this particular piece at 5.25. I found that 5.3 worked a little bit better for me, but I'm just used to using the 10th increments with the Imagine. So I cut this at 5.3. Now remember, when you fold your card over, this is going to be face up, and then this comes over. So if you cut this like this, it's not going to layer. You need to flip these images, all of these images, or turn the paper differently, have the paper face down. So you go ahead and flip it, and then it's perfect. You've got, this is at 5.3, and then I'll go ahead and know if I cut this at 5.3, and then these are all relatively sized, all of them will fit on the layers. And let me show you. And then these will be all of the layers, and it'll fit your card perfectly. Well, the next thing I want to show you is how to do the sentiment. Now, if I wanted to use this particular phrase, happy birthday, with this card, once I have this in the queue, I would click on it and see what the true size is. And it just so happens that the true size is 2.4 inches. So then I would go ahead and cut this out this particular one out at 2.4 inches, and I'd have all the different layering. If you wanted, you could just do, you know, the regular card, but it would only be in one color, so it would basically look like this. But I want all of these individual layers, so I'll go ahead and cut this one at 2.4, and then these will all be relatively sized to fit the 2.4. And like I said earlier, be sure you do a couple test cuts, because it may be off like 1/10 of an inch or something, but it's a pretty good way to get a good estimate. Now the other thing I wanted to do is I wanted to use different phrases. For example, I may not want make believe on this. I may want this to be happy birthday, or I may want, instead of fun in the sun, I may want it to say thank you, or instead of fly, I may want it to say thinking of you. So I came up with a way to change the sentiments. Well, in this case, for this card, I don't have happy birthday, I have it's your birthday, and I really liked that. So let me show you how I did that. What you'll do, and I'll show you that particular phrase is on page 58. So what I did is I put this particular card in the image queue, and then I clicked on this to find out what, you know, this again would be 5.5, what would be the true size of this, so I could match it up to here. And it happened to be, the phrase was 2.1. So then I went up here and cut it at 2.1, and then all of these were relative, so I could have all the different colors. I didn't use the shadow, and let me show you how that looks. It's your birthday. I'll get some of this out of the way. So the next step, I took this card and then I just drew a line across, and this is where, you know, the phrase would stick up, and I just trimmed that off. And then I knew that for this particular card, this would be 2.1 inches. So I thought, I'm just gonna try it here, and it turns out to fit perfectly. And I know you can't see it as much on yellow or on the orange on orange, but what you can do then is layer it and then glue it down. And it is remarkably sturdy. And I'm not sure, I'll open it up like that. And you can position it if you want to move it further down or a little up. And because you've got so many different layers, it's really sturdy. But if you wanted even more backing, you could go ahead and cut out the shadow on the phrase layer. And that's all there is to it. So now you can take any one of the cards and pretty much exchange any of the phrases. And it will work, I think, on like 90% of them, because if you notice going through the book, you've got a rectangle that's a little bit smaller or a little bit shorter here. This rectangle is a little taller, but all you would do is trim off the top. There's a couple of shaped ones that it won't work with, but most of these are just, I'm hoping you can see that, trim off the top. And I think it just makes a really cute card. And when you have the additional layers, I think it just really, you can really bling it up. I'm going to move that and then put your sentiment, your inside sentiment in there, and it's really ready to go. So thank you for watching, and please visit my blog at www.paperboutique.blogspot.com for more projects and ideas. Bye-bye.